All right, welcome back. We are in the daytime kitchen today talking all about do's and don'ts for your summer barbecue. Dr. BJ Hardick, there's probably nobody better to give us some tips on this. You were just telling me in the break that you barbecue every single weekend, and I think the misconception is that, you know, barbecues, they cannot be good for you.
Yeah, well, it's what we associate with the barbecues,
right.
You know. So
leave the bottles of Corona to the side, well, perhaps.
Notice we're not going to touch beverages at all today. Beverages in the previous segment. Right. Well, no, but even that, as you've seen in other segments, you can still make healthy beverages.
Yes.
You know, with or without alcohol, you make that decision. But
right.
but I think it's the food. You know, I mean, people associate barbecues with just fattening food, and you know, and the truth is, I mean, typical North American barbecues have a bunch of greasy, fattening, sugar-filled condiments.
Right. Well, the two things that most people grill are hamburgers and hot dogs, right? And what are they made up of?
Well, we brought some hot dogs right here. So the first thing to think about, and I brought some of this stuff from my own fridge, some of the healthy stuff, but some of these things I had to go to the store to get because I don't keep them around my house. But the first thing to think about with these processed meats, the World Cancer Research Foundation flat out said in 2009 that nitrites and all these injections into these processed meats are basically too dangerous for human consumption. We still continue to consume them, but they said these things absolutely cause cancer not because of the meats, but because of everything else that gets injected. So when you look here at these ingredients,
right.
Of course, it's very, very small, fine print.
Nitrate.
Yeah, so that would be the end there. So when you see something that says nitrite, and the other way to just look for it, because sometimes you buy these things right at the counter and you don't get to see all the ingredients. Anything that has some real consistent, particularly reddish color throughout, that's what you want to watch out for. Oh. I think it's incredible. Okay. And right here in London, I mean, we have the farmers market at the Western Fair. We have the Covent Garden Market. There's a market at Masonville Mall now on Fridays. So you can go and get you know, fresh hot dogs that come from healthy animals that weren't injected with tons of stuff. And I mean, even if you look in here, there's all types of preservatives and salt and sugar and a bunch of things that you can't pronounce.
Well, it begins with mechanically separated chicken and pork. That concerns me.
Well, yeah, and if you've ever watched Jamie Oliver's show, you know what mechanically separated means. We take the whole chicken and don't waste any pieces of it. I think.
Okay, so there is a healthy alternative though to the hot dog.
Absolutely. And I think in the old days, before we had all these modern day problems, we would go right to the farmer. And I just think there's so many more opportunities to do that now. And of course, health food stores have a lot of these things. Of course, they won't last as long. But I think the longer something lasts,
the more preservatives?
Yeah, the more preservatives. Right. I mean, we brought a couple examples of the buns. We brought a nice flat white bun here. And then we also, which you can clearly see is different than the whole grain bun.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, this whole grain bun, I mean, we keep that in the fridge. You know, so it's sprouted, whole or stone ground grains. And actually, if you keep that out for even a day, you'll start to see it'll go bad. But I mean, this one you could probably keep on your porch for a couple days and nothing would happen.
Yeah, actually the breads that we use in our home, I have to keep them in the freezer. Because without freezing them, they just within almost half a day.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I found this one here. Do you like hot stuff?
Love hot stuff.
So I found this one, and this I just bought at the everyday grocery store. And when you look in here, it's aged cayenne red peppers, vinegar, water, salt, and garlic powder.
Okay.
There are no chemical preservatives in there.
Right?
There's no sugar. So it's not that every single thing that I would eat or that we'd endorse eating has to come from an organic farmer or the health food store. You know, this came from the grocery store. At the same time, there are some definite differences, even if you just look at salt and you compare our typical table salt.
Right. So what is the difference?
Well, let's take a look at the ingredients here.
All right.
So the ingredients on our typical table salt.
Salt, calcium, what is that?
Silicate.
Silicate, sugar, and potassium iodide?
So 4 ingredients, but salt and sugar are 2.
Sugar and salt.
So there is sugar in the salt.
Okay, and then this one is...
so this is the kind of salt that I like. It's called real salt, which that's a good name because it's actually real salt.
Go figure.
And if you see the color, yeah, I guess the color comes through. You see all those little speckles of brown and dark colors and grays. Listen, the minerals are still intact. You know, so the reality is somebody can still put together just an awesome barbecue, get the fresh stuff, you know, obviously, you know, avoid the preservatives, get some healthy condiments that don't have sugar added and a bunch of crazy preservatives, and it's great.
Let's talk about condiments. Okay, ketchup, mustard, and is this a mayo? No.
Well, that is called avocado mayo.
Okay.
So when you take a peek here, let's go through the ingredients on this one.
All right. Well, this one, first of all.
No, just a second. You'd think that in my book here, we have a homemade recipe for mayonnaise, and it's awesome. It's basically egg yolk, olive oil, spices. It's delicious.
That's it. Okay.
But you'd think in avocado mayo, the first ingredient would be
avocado.
right. So let's go through this here.
How about soybean oil?
That's not an avocado.
Okay. Water.
Okay.
Frozen egg yolk.
Yes.
White vinegar.
Yep.
Oh, avocado powder.
Avocado powder. So it starts to get suspicious.
Okay.
But,
Yes.
but as we go on, you see that there's still sugar, modified potato starch, all these things that you wouldn't expect in avocado sauce.
Right.
So again,
Okay.
that's where, in Maximize Living Nutrition Plans, we have a homemade recipe for mayonnaise. I went to a barbecue on Saturday and people said, "You have mayonnaise on this?" And I said, "Yes, it's right out of the book, and it's all good, healthy fats." I just made it that afternoon, and it's delicious.
People must watch what you eat with a magnifying glass. I mean, really, because you
More or
are,
less.
yeah, right?
But I do think this though. I do think that I was out to dinner last night, and somebody said to me, "What's your vice, or what do you cheat on?" And I honestly didn't have an answer for that with food, and I think it's because we have so many ways to make the treats. We have so many ways to make treats that are still healthy. Most people cave on treats. So we brought some for you.
So before we get to
time,
the
so,
treats,
yeah.
ketchup, is it okay? Is it not okay? And what about mustard?
Probably. I mean, mustard. Listen, we just did our new book coming out this summer is called Cancer Killers,
Right.
and one of the best spices that we know that helps to prevent cancer is turmeric.
Oh, okay.
So when you look in here, this would be like an organic, healthy mustard, and again, it's water, organic white vinegar, mustard seeds, which have health benefits, turmeric, and organic paprika. So that's
not
what,
bad.
No, and that's what gives it that yellowy, orangey color. It's not a bunch of food colorings. So
Great
you
tips.
can get good ones. There are some out there that are just so yellow.
We gotta go.
Yes,
We're out of
you got
time.
it.
Great tips, as always. You can find them all in Maximize Living, or you can go to drhardick.com. Thanks again, and I'm going to enjoy one of those cookies, my friend.